Laura Ingraham is known to millions as one of the most outspoken voices on Fox News, sharp, confident, and rarely backing down. But off-camera, her life has taken turns that many viewers never saw coming. From serious health battles to family conflicts and public backlash, the story behind the persona is far more complicated than it appears. So what really happened to Laura Ingraham? Laura Ingraham, the longtime conservative commentator and host of the Ingraham Angle on Fox News, stands out for many reasons. But what you might not know is that years prior, she battled a shocking diagnosis. In April, at age 41, she was diagnosed with early-stage invasive ductal carcinoma, a common but very aggressive form of breast cancer that was detected during a routine physical exam when her physician found a lump in her breast. Years later, Laura calls herself a breast cancer thriver, and not a survivor, because she says she was living her life to the fullest and not passively surviving the process. She sees the experience as an adventure that brought clarity to her life. When she was diagnosed with cancer, it came at a difficult personal time. Laura had lost her mother a few years earlier to lung cancer, which made the news of her own illness emotionally challenging. Even if she was shocked, she approached her treatment fully determined. She quickly had 2 surgeries followed by 6 weeks of chemotherapy and radiation. Her final radiation session was completed in October 2005, and by the next year, she was back to work, and even broadcasted news live from Baghdad in early 2006, with her hair still regrowing. Laura has said that she doesn't like to dwell on her cancer experience, as she doesn't want it to define her identity or overshadow her roles as a mother and broadcaster. She said that many survivors just want to move on with their lives, reclaim their routines and relationships, instead of being singled out by their diagnosis. She says that her cancer diagnosis remains in her rearview mirror, and she doesn't want to be pitied or receive bad attention for having had cancer. Faith, family, and community support are what helped Laura recover. She credited her deep religious faith, the prayers and messages from friends across the country, and the closeness of her tight circle of friends for helping her through the treatment process. Although she pushed through the cancer diagnosis, it wasn't easy, especially since she had just lost her mother to the same disease a few years back. Laura Ingraham has opened up on a few occasions about the loss of her mother, which is an experience she had described as one of the biggest challenges of her life. Laura's mother, Anne Caroline Ingraham, died in 1999 from lung cancer, 6 years before Laura's own breast cancer diagnosis. The death came at a time when Laura was just building her career and forming her identity. She admitted that her mother's passing shaped her understanding of resilience, family, and faith in ways that influence her today. Laura once revealed that watching her mother battle a terminal illness was way harder to deal with than confronting her own cancer later. She had explained publicly that losing her mother taught her deep lessons about the fragility of life and the importance of appreciating loved ones while they are present. Laura also says that she's pleased that her mother passed years before her own health scare, and she was spared the worry of watching her daughter go through a serious illness. She finds this thought meaningful and bittersweet. Her mother's influence is very important in her life. Laura usually references the values that her mother instilled in her, such as honesty, frugality, work ethic, and a sense of humor. And she says these lessons shaped her personal character, but also how she raised her own children. In interviews, she talked about the warm memories of her mother's laughter and practical wisdom, remembering small moments, like her mother's funny greeting cards, as sources of comfort and joy, even after her passing. Laura has also talked about how her mother's death affected her perspective on time and priorities. She has said that because of her loss and health challenges, she tries not to let trivial concerns dominate her life and instead focuses on cherishing meaningful moments with her family. She usually tells friends and audiences that those who still have their mothers nearby are so blessed. But while Laura had a close relationship with her mother, the same can't be said for her brother, as they have a public scandal that many are paying attention to. What really happened to Laura Ingraham from Fox News and her brother? Aside from dealing with a deadly cancer diagnosis and public political controversy, Laura has faced a very public dispute with her older brother, Curtis Ingraham, and they continue to do this through social media and in interviews. Rather than being a private family matter, it has become a major scandal. The conflict between them is mostly because of deep ideological differences. Curtis, a teacher in California who is openly gay, has constantly criticized Laura's conservative rhetoric and commentary, accusing her of promoting divisiveness and hypocrisy. In a 2018 interview, he described his sister as a monster, saying that she had a destructive approach to public issues and she was ready to destroy rather than listen. He also revealed that they had a bad family background because their father was abusive and held extremist sympathies. He suggests that her upbringing might have shaped the anger she reveals today. Even on Twitter, Curtis has constantly said that he's kind of a sibling fact-checker. He constantly rebukes Laura's posts and calls on advertisers to drop sponsorships from her show. His tweets always target her responses to sensitive topics including gun violence advocacy, immigration policies, and public health figures. He also called her pathetic for criticizing Dr. Anthony Fauci's handling of COVID-19 coverage. Surprisingly, their relationship was not always so bad. In a 1997 Washington Post essay, Laura Ingraham wrote that she had changed her views on homosexuality after she witnessed the dignity, fidelity, and courage with which her brother Curtis and his partner coped with the latter's AIDS diagnosis. But Curtis later said that as her career progressed in Fox News, she became more conservative and moved away from all those sympathetic views. This made him feel like all her previous statements felt like a sham to him. He has even called her a racist and a Nazi sympathizer, and even argued that her show is divisive. He says that she focuses on her paycheck over the well-being of the world. Laura's public response to her brother's comments has been measured. After some of his most forceful remarks, she issued a statement saying that she was sad that her brother would make false and hurtful online postings. Laura has stated that her other siblings were also shocked by Curtis's remarks. But Curtis isn't the only one that is accusing Laura Ingraham. On social media, many have been pushing back against her and accusing her after she made several shocking statements. In 2025, Laura Ingraham, the longtime Fox News host of the Ingraham Angle, sparked a wave of public pushback after a segment in which she criticized younger Americans, especially Gen Z. She said that they weren't focusing on marriage and having children. During the broadcast, Laura highlighted results from a recent NBC News poll, which shows differences in how younger people rank life goals, with her commentary focusing on the low placement of marriage and child-rearing among those priorities. She contrasted this with what she said were higher rankings for young conservative men, and questioned why marriage and kids seemed less central to the broader Gen Z's definition of success. Laura's remarks were framed within a larger discussion about cultural and demographic changes in the United States, including changing views on family structures and fertility rates. She also said that she was concerned that the declining marriage and birth rates could have broader societal implications. But some commentators and viewers have said that there's a major contradiction in her criticism. It's quite ironic that Laura is saying this when she has never been married. She is now 62 years old and is a single mother who adopted her 3 children in her 40s. She built her family independently of a traditional marriage. Many have said that she's being hypocritical, and that her own life path, marked by a successful career and later adoption, is the same as many Gen Z individuals today. So her statements immediately attracted backlash. But before this shocking scandal, Laura's choice to avoid marriage and adopt 3 underprivileged children attracted a lot of attention. Laura's life as a single mother is quite different from the traditional family structure that she promotes on her Fox News program. But it's also one of the most defining aspects of her personal story. Laura has never been married, a fact that she admitted publicly, and has always been private about her personal relationships. Despite this, she has built a family through international adoption, bringing 3 children into her home and raising them mostly out of the spotlight. In 2008, Laura adopted her first child, a daughter named Maria Caroline, from Guatemala, when Maria was about 3 years old. She later adopted 2 sons from Russia, Michael Dmitry in 2009 and Nikolai Peter in 2011, both when they were around 1 year old. These adoptions came at a time in her life when Laura was already established in her media career. She was committed to motherhood rather than a public statement. Laura has spoken about adoption as a vocation rooted in compassion and responsibility. She said that adoption should be focused on the well-being of children instead of the political considerations. stating in interviews that adoption, first and foremost, needs to be about the children and that they shouldn't be seen as commodities. She decided to adopt because of her desire to be a mother and to provide a stable home for children who needed one, regardless of her marital status. It hasn't been easy for Laura Ingraham to balance the demands of a high-profile career with single parenthood, but she has admitted that raising 3 children is her greatest challenge, but also her deepest joy. She has described watching her children grow, tracking milestones from school to broader aspirations, as a source of pride. Her daughter Maria is now a young adult, while her sons Michael and Nikolai have been kept largely out of the public eye because of Laura's desire to protect their privacy, even as she occasionally shares about their family life. Laura's journey from single motherhood through adoption has been fulfilling and challenging, shaping her family life and also her perspective on family and adoption. Adopting all her 3 children required navigating complex international systems at a time when some countries, especially Russia, were tightening restrictions on foreign adoptions. So, her last 2 adoptions were especially difficult and emotionally taxing. Laura has said that she entered the adoption process fully aware of its difficulties. Many nations don't permit single parents to adopt. Birth mothers often prefer 2-parent homes, and the bureaucratic process might be too intimidating. She has been honest about the obstacles, saying that the process had too many ups and downs to even remember, and that effective adoption should be centered entirely on the welfare of the children instead of political or ideological agendas. Once she took her children home, Laura also said that it was difficult to balance parenthood with her own demanding media career. She has described single parenthood as the hardest challenge she ever faced, and even with financial stability, she had to be present for family life, homework, and bedtime routines. Laura has also reflected a blend of discipline, presence, and intentional bonding in her parenting style. She often protects her children from the spotlight and makes it a nightly habit for each child to share something positive from their day to keep them emotionally resilient. But she remains strict in the times that matter, stopping her children from having smartphones before high school. She has advocated for flip phones to communicate with children for safety and emergencies, and then provide smartphones later. Laura also focuses on enforcing rules in smartphone use. Although Laura Ingraham has adopted 3 children, she has never been married, but has a bit of a dating history. Laura Ingraham has been conservative for years and has kept much of her personal life private, and has never publicly announced a marriage or long-term partnership in her adult life. One of her earliest known romantic relationships dates back to her college years at Dartmouth College, where she dated fellow conservative commentator Dinesh D'Souza. The two were reportedly serious and even engaged at one point in the early 1980s, bonding over both politics and shared ambitions. But they canceled the engagement before marriage, and the two of them remained friends over the following decades, with Laura later writing a letter in support of D'Souza during his legal troubles in 2014. In the late 1990s, Laura was romantically linked to liberal commentator Keith Olbermann, an unlikely pairing given their sharply divergent views. But their relationship was very brief, and neither of them publicly admitted to it. Around the same time, there were rumors that she was dating the former Democratic Senator Robert Torricelli. The most public chapter of Laura's dating life came in 2005, when she became engaged to James V. Reyes, a businessman she met on a blind date. The couple planned to get married in the spring of that year, but Laura's life took a dramatic turn when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She focused on treatment and recovery, and the engagement was called off. From then, she decided to focus more on healing rather than having a wedding. After she recovered, Laura didn't pursue marriage again. Instead, she focused on adoption and motherhood, adopting her 3 children from Guatemala and Russia. Raising her 3 children as a single mother became the central focus of her personal life, and she has said that her family and career give her fulfillment without the need for marriage. She also has a demanding schedule as a media personality, with nightly television duties, radio, writing, and public engagements. This has left little room for long-term romantic relationships and made her more independent. Meanwhile, Laura has not only faced some scandals in her personal life, but also in her career, especially with her support of the Great Replacement theory that has been widely criticized. Laura Ingraham's commentary on demographic change in the United States has attracted widespread scrutiny, especially since it echoes elements of what critics say is the Great Replacement theory, a far-right conspiracy rooted in white nationalist thought. The Great Replacement theory is a debunked and controversial idea that says that white populations in Western nations are being deliberately replaced by non-white immigrants through immigration policies, demographic trends, and elite agendas. On her Fox News program, Laura has warned that massive demographic changes are being imposed on Americans without their consent, and says that these are because of immigration and political strategy. She once said that many parts of the country don't feel like the America we know and love, saying that these transformations are due to legal and illegal immigration, and suggests that they were neither chosen nor liked by the public. Critics say that this is more like white nationalist thinking. Many commentators and watchdog groups have criticized her for her language and framing, and these aren't just neutral demographic observations, but rather political rhetoric, similar to the Great Replacement narrative. She often says that immigration is like an invasion, and that political opponents are replacing existing voters with newly naturalized citizens or immigrants. These have attracted a lot of negative attention. At the same time, Laura has faced some advertiser boycotts because of her statements. In 2018, Laura Ingraham faced one of the biggest advertiser boycotts of her career after mocking Parkland shooting survivor and gun control activist David Hogg on Twitter. Ingraham tweeted about Hogg's college rejection letters, writing that he whines about being turned down by several schools, a comment that many critics saw as targeting a teenager still grieving classmates killed in the massacre. Hogg responded by urging his followers to contact companies that advertised on the Ingraham angle and ask them to pull their support. Within days, many major advertisers announced that they would stop buying ad time on her program. In response to the pressure and the loss of sponsors, Laura issued a public apology, although Hogg said she only did so because she lost advertisers and not because she was genuinely remorseful. About 27 sponsors cut ties with the show, and the advertising rates dropped significantly during the boycott's height. The controversy came up again in 2019, when Laura stirred fresh criticism and another wave of advertisers left. It was a graphic of controversial figures shown on her show, which showed prominent voices censored on social media, which included Paul Nehlen, a known white supremacist and anti-Semitic figure. There was backlash from the viewers and watchdogs who said that it appeared to defend or legalize an extremist individual, and one advertiser pulled its support from her show. Fox News defended the segment, and Ingraham, arguing the graphic was meant to highlight concerns about censorship, not celebrate extremist views. But Laura found herself facing another problem when she made a statement about a famous athlete that incited fans and viewers against her. In February 2018, Laura Ingraham sparked intense criticism when she told NBA superstar LeBron James to shut up and dribble after he and teammate Kevin Durant spoke publicly about U.S. politics and expressed criticism of then-President Donald Trump. On her Fox News program, The Ingraham Angle, she argued that professional athletes who earn millions for playing sports should keep the political commentary to yourselves and stick to basketball, saying in part, "Must they run their mouths like that? Shut up and dribble." Many interpreted the remarks as dismissive of athletes' voices in public discourse, especially given James and Durant's prominence as black athletes commenting on issues affecting racial and social justice. The backlash was quick and widespread. LeBron James responded publicly saying that he won't limit his voice to athletics. He stated, "I will not just shut up and dribble. I mean too much to society. I mean too much to the youth." The situation eventually blew up on social media with the hashtag #WeWillNotShutUpAndDribble, and used the moment to emphasize that athletes can also engage in political issues. Many critics, including other NBA players, said that Laura's statement was racially insensitive, and it was a form of dog whistle commentary suggesting that black athletes should stay in their lane instead of speaking on national affairs. Now, you know what really happened with Laura Ingraham, the famous commentator from Fox News? From being diagnosed with cancer to adopting children, which part of Laura's life shocked you the most? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. So, thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.